What's going to happen to all the Bloodline members once the story is over? Well, that's what we're here to answer.
If it ever is over.
If it ever is over, yeah. We're only in the third inning, or I don't speak sports ball terms, but we're only at halftime. We'll say that from an English perspective. I'm the honorary Zeus. Welcome to A.I.W. I'm joined by Kronus the Bear.
Hello.
And today we are discussing what each Bloodline member might be doing once the story is over. Pretty self-explanatory. If you do like the content, give us a like and a subscribe, and leave some comments with what you think is going to happen to each member of the Bloodline. So how this is going to work, we're going to go through each member one by one, and then myself, Kronus, and A.I. Jeff is back. He's going to give us thoughts as well. And we're each going to give our thoughts on what this person is going to do once the Bloodline story is completely and utterly done. So I think there's no better place to start than Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Start at the top.
Should we start with Jeff?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. All right. So as you can remember, Jeff is a bit of a wordsmith, so bear with me here. So Roman Reigns, once the Bloodline is finished, A.I. Jeff has put, he's called him the part-time legend. And he said, after losing his tribal chief status in the Bloodline, Roman Reigns takes a step back from full-time wrestling and focuses on Hollywood and family. He becomes a part-time WWE attraction, returning for major events such as WrestleMania, and while in the background mentoring younger talent. Behind the scenes, he works to rebuild trust with his cousins, particularly Jay and Jimmy, while eventually transitioning into a backstage role as a producer while juggling Hollywood. His legacy evolves from dominance to guidance, with occasional matches on rare occasions to remind fans of his greatness. It's quite well put, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, very eloquent.
Yeah.
But it seems to be focusing on Roman's retirement from wrestling.
Well, yeah,
altogether.
I think Jeff has gone for Roman basically calling it quits on a full-time basis.
Well,
I'm going to agree with Jeff, sort of.
I mean, it'd be nice if he did manage to sort of transition once he's done with wrestling.
Well, yeah, I mean,
to, sort of Hollywood stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go. I would agree. I do think Roman, once the Bloodline story is over, I think he transitions to Hollywood. Whether he kind of sticks around on a part-time basis, and whether he still has, those links like John Cena did all those years, where he was always, he was quite big in Hollywood, but he always had WWE to come back to.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to go with Roman going to Hollywood on a full-time basis. I think that's where he ends up. I mean, look at him, he's built for cinema, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, he's also got a lot better at just acting in general with this heel character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the whole suffering succotash stuff wouldn't have probably flown in Hollywood.
It's night and day, isn't it? Like the big dog's the tribal chief. It's like it's a different person. So yeah, I'm gonna go retires and goes to Hollywood. What about you, Kronus?
Well, for Roman, he sort of stays with Heyman because I do like that dynamic, and at the moment I can't really see who else might be a Heyman guy.
Yeah,
and you do benefit from having Heyman on screen. He always gets that intro, "My name is Paul Heyman," finished off by the crowd.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's still good to have around. He keeps sort of the tribal chief gimmick, that sort of aura about him. I hate that word. But sort of lets his tribe go and do their own thing while he does his. There's no all of this, they're all there at everything. Went on to write, I would like to see Roman batter The Rock at some point, so he stops being involved with in continuing this story.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
maybe win the People's Championship off him.
Yeah, it's just, it's dragging on, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And The Rock being sort of in and out every few months, and it changing seemingly every time, whether he's a face or a heel.
Yeah.
I just want him to get done, get out. Roman's now the wrestling tribal chief, head of the family, in terms of in-ring stuff. The Rock can be the legit chief of Samoa.
Yeah.
IRL.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Roman Reigns. Leave a comment. What do you think Roman Reigns is going to be doing after the Bloodline is finished? Who should we do next? Do you want to do Solo Sikoa?
Yeah, can do.
All right. So I'll go first on Solo Sikoa. I think a good old-fashioned run in NXT would be great for Solo Sikoa. Reason I say this is because all Solo Sikoa has known on the main roster is Bloodline.
Yeah.
He's never not been a part of the Bloodline. So once that ends, I worry that he'll just be lost in the shuffle on the main roster because he's still young. He's still young. He can obviously evolve into greater things. But I think when the Bloodline story ends, I think obviously I don't think we'll see any of them for a long time. But I worry Solo would kind of just get lost. So I think he could have a dominating run in NXT. Who knows what the state of NXT will be by that time. Just for like a year or something. And then focus, refresh, maybe have a new gimmick that you can kind of build in NXT. And then come back to the main roster and probably do really well. So that's my pitch for Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, pretty good. Mine is awfully similar.
Yeah.
So I'll get that out of the way quickly. So I've said either to the mid card on the main if he is staying there, just to get more sort of matches, feuds that aren't anything to do with the Bloodline, or to NXT again.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, personally, I don't really see him in the main event.
No.
Of anything main roster. I mean, he could be a solid mid card heel, but I think I went for sort of at the moment. NXT sort of seriously needs a men's division shake-up, so I think he could only help that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you and I agree. Do you know who doesn't agree?
Is it Jeff?
It's A.I. Jeff. So A.I. Jeff has gone a different trajectory, should we say. So A.I. Jeff for Solo Sikoa says, the new tribal chief, Solo Sikoa, seizes leadership of Roman's reign as Roman's reign ends and becomes the new tribal chief. His run is intense but controversial, marked by tension with Jay and Jimmy. He leans into a more ruthless persona post-Bloodline, winning the WWE Championship.
Oh, wow, okay.
But still struggling to unify the family. Over time, he matures as a leader, earning respect through hard-fought battles, eventually turning babyface. He eventually passes the leadership to a younger family member, solidifying his place in Bloodline legacy.
Well, he's certainly ambitious.
Yeah. Solo Sikoa is WWE champion. I mean, how old is Solo? Like 30?
I'm not sure.
Late 20s, something like that. Do I see him being WWE champion ever? Probably not. But I do see him being successful long term. I do see a future for him. So that's Jeff, who's gone. He's really sticking his neck out there.
He is a bit.
His long bionic neck. So that's Solo Sikoa. Kronus, who do you want to do next?
Could go Jacob.
Jacob Fatu. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So do you want to go first?
Yeah. So, I mean, I love what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
Personally, but I'd like to see sort of more of that. Maybe with, I don't know if Zilla Fatu is still incoming.
Possibly, yeah.
It's about, I think they were Samoan SWAT team in like MLW or something.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere.
Yep.
So that could be cool. Potentially add Solo as like an underling or a tag team with Zilla.
Yeah.
So Solo's not in the main picture anymore. It's sort of Jacob with his crazy calculatedness.
Yeah.
Running the show. But just mainly want to see Jacob bulldoze his way sort of through the mid card. Maybe have a US or IC title reign on the way, to then planning through the heavyweights as well.
Yeah, I think
I want to see him go on.
I think this is going to. I think this is going to be quite a universal one between the three of us. But yeah, carry on unless you finished.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Yep. So yeah, dominating run for Jacob Fatu. A.I. Jeff. This one is the breakout star Jacob. Frustrated by the Bloodline's dysfunction as it finishes, he leaves to establish himself as a single star. His athleticism and intensity make him a top contender for mid-card or even world titles. He leans into his Samoan werewolf persona, drawing huge reactions from the fans. Over time, he forms a new faction with up-and-coming talent, distancing himself from the Bloodline altogether. His career peaks with a main event run and a world title, proving he can stand alone. Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think from my point of view, I think that Jacob Fatu is the perfect person to take that US title to the next level, for example, because
definitely.
that title hasn't felt important since John Cena's Open Challenge, 10 years ago. So I think, someone like Jacob Fatu he could have a Gunther-like reign with that US title. Maybe not as long, but as dominant, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, easily.
And then he can put someone over and, lose that to whoever. And then he can go on to, maybe World Heavyweight Championship if he switches brands at some point. Because, that title's still very young in its infancy, isn't it, that title, in terms of lineage?
Yeah, a bit of help.
Yeah, but I think we're all agreed there on Jacob Fatu, and I think everyone with a functioning brain would probably agree as well, based on what we've seen on television. So Jacob Fatu to the moon is the message.
Yeah, I hope so.
Let's do Jimmy Uso. Kronus, Jimmy Uso, you've paired Jimmy and Jay together, have you? So I guess you're going to treat these two the same. So do you want to cover the Usos on your end?
Yeah, pretty much. Just want to see them going back to tagging.
Yep.
I mean, it's their bread and butter, what they do best. They've had this sort of Jay solo run, which, I was all right with at the start, but I think it is dragging on a bit too much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think he's probably going to beat Gunther at Mania, but I'd rather he didn't, personally.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Jimmy isn't doing much right now, so I'd be all right giving them another tag title run. It spices up the tag division, which is on the way. It's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
But Jay and Jimmy aren't going to take anything away from any tag team division ever.
No.
They're only going to make it better. So yeah, that's where I want to see him.
Yep.
Back to tagging.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Jimmy and Jay back as a tag team when the Bloodline's finished. I think it gives them both to have like a nice singles run. Maybe in the meantime, Jimmy wins a US title. Jay's going to win the World Heavyweight title. I don't see either of them being champions, like singles champions, for too long. So I think the natural progression would be to get them back as a tag team, because I think when you're trying to rebuild a tag division, and you might have some like tag teams coming up from NXT, then the two tag teams you want active are the New Day and the Usos, to kind of help with that new fresh crop of talent. So I think so as well. Jeff kind of agrees. Jeff thinks that Jay goes on a kind of longer run as a singles champion. He says Jay, tired of family drama, focuses on his singles career, capitalizing on his Yeet popularity. He wins the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, and his arc explores his struggle to balance family loyalty with personal success, as he frequently references memories from the Bloodline. Later on, after his title reign, he reconciles with Jimmy, and they occasionally team up for nostalgia tag matches. Jay ends his career as a respected veteran, possibly transitioning to commentary or coaching. Do not want to see him on commentary. Thank you.
Yeah, no.
You got the Miz. You got the Miz. The Miz and CM Punk are right there. So that's what he thinks on Jay. So that's Jay covered. We'll go for Jimmy Uso. A.I. Jeff's got some stuff on Jimmy Uso. Yeah. And let's go. So Jimmy has been sidelined by injuries. Takes time off after the Bloodline to focus on recovery in his family. He returns in a limited capacity, focusing on tag team matches with Jay to rebuild their bond. Behind the scenes, he works with WWE's community outreach program, mentoring young talent from underserved communities. Sorry, I thought it said undeserved. Underserved communities. His legacy shifts from in-ring work to being the emotional glue of him and his brother, helping mend relationships between all involved when the other members occasionally appear. It's not bad, is it? For old Jim.
Well, they've really gone into the future there.
Yeah. Kind of, all the way to retirement from A.I. Jeff there. I guess for me, with Jimmy, it probably applies the same as Jay. Just want them back as a tag team. And then fade into the sunset as probably the greatest tag team ever, maybe, up for debate.
Certainly up there.
Yeah, certainly top 5, definitely. Who we got next? We have got Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. All right. You again, Kronus, you've put them both together, is that right?
Yeah, pretty similar to the Usos.
Yep.
They really need to make a proper statement, both of them. And tagging is where Gorillas of Destiny, who they were in NJPW, made their name. The multi-time IWGP heavyweight tag champs. Said this is what they do. Tag division really needs some star power. Maybe add Longer Tonga whenever he comes in.
Yeah.
Like a heater. Not a big guy for them. Basically, they're Big Bill.
Yeah, exactly. The big bill to their learning tree.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Although you know what I'm going to say, don't you?
What's that?
NXT. Off to NXT they go. I put them with Solo in NXT and just have like a, not Bloodline related necessarily, just have 3 of them go and kill everyone in NXT. They've kind of got that sort of reputation on the main roster for being vicious and not caring about anyone. So bring that shit to NXT. Spice things up a bit.
Yeah. They do need tag teams down there as well.
They do, yeah. So the Solo's the main eventer and the Tonga twins. Well, they're not the Tonga twins, are they? But they're female. I'd have Tama and Tonga go down to NXT and join Solo. Or they don't even have to join him. They could just be separate. But I'd have all 3 of them in NXT in some capacity.
Yeah, that's fair.
But the big question is, what does A.I. Jeff think? Tonga Loa. This is really interesting. So Tonga Loa, he's done them separate. Tonga Loa, loyal to his brother Tama, sticks with him post Bloodline, but takes a reduced in-ring role due to age and wear and tear. Eventually, he transitions into a trainer at a wrestling school, possibly in Japan or the US, passing on his hard-hitting style. He occasionally appears as a special enforcer for Tama Tonga or other family members, and his legacy becomes one of quiet strength and mentorship. There you go. So that's probably a reduced role for Tonga Loa, that is, in the ring.
Very profound.
Yeah. And Tama Tonga. The independent... This is brilliant, by the way. The independent leader, Tama, disillusioned with the Bloodline's politics, leaves WWE and returns to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Or starts his own indie promotion.
I think that's a bit of an overreaction.
He reverts to his Gorilla of Destiny roots, leading a new version of the Bullet Club or a similar faction. His outspoken personality makes him a cult favorite, as he frequently takes shots at WWE on social media. Eventually, he comes back to WWE and reconciles with people like Roman and Solo, making sporadic WWE appearances as a wild card veteran. Well, there we go. That is fantasy booking for you. That is really throwing the line out there.
Quite.
But yeah, and I think that's
just straight up leaves.
Straight out quits. Yeah, I'm done with this shit. Bye. But I think that's it. That's everyone covered, isn't it? Oh no, Sami Zayn. How could we forget the honorary Us? Jeff hasn't done Sami Zayn because Jeff's an idiot, but we've done Sami Zayn. So, Kronus, what have you got for Sami Zayn?
Well, I wrote this quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Before the Rumble, I think. So, and it kind of is happening. So, he's great, obviously, but he's really always been in that supporting character role.
Yeah, always a bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it would be cool to see him have a title run at some point. But then I've put sort of maybe an Iron Man Rumble performance, if not a win.
Yeah.
Then if not a win in the Rumble, a win in the Chamber.
Yeah.
Just to set up an opportunity. I'd have KO beat Cody and then Sammy feud with KO over the title.
Yeah, cool.
And I've basically said, this way we get Cody to fuck off and Sammy gets a title.
Win-win. Win-win.
Yeah. And he is now sort of starting to feud with KO again.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, long-term booking will come into it at some point.
Yeah.
I basically got the same as you, I think, but I've a bit more specific. I've got him winning the Rumble in Saudi Arabia. and winning the title at WrestleMania next year. That's what I've basically.
Okay.
That's what I see for Sami Zayn. I mean, it's either going to be against Kevin Owens or Drew McIntyre, because he's 0-11 against Drew McIntyre. So to get that one win against Drew McIntyre when it matters most at WrestleMania would be quite a moment.
Yeah, see that.
But yeah, Sami Zayn, I think, is overdue a world title. I mean, we say that Drew's overdue, but Drew's won a world title even though he lost last year really quickly, but he's had other world title reigns, whereas Sami's not even had one. So I want to see Sami get one before he hangs up the boots, should we say? And
Yeah, definitely.
it's not going to be too long, so I think he wins the Rumble in Saudi, which makes sense because of the Arabic connection.
Yeah.
And then goes on to win the title at WrestleMania. And Jeff doesn't think anything about Sami Zayn. So there we go.
Not even bothered.
Not even bothered about the honorary use. But that's it, guys. That is everyone in the Bloodline counted for. Let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen to each member of the Bloodline and who you agree with most on each member. Love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We just hit 100 subscribers, by the way. So there's that. Thank you very much. And just a reminder, guys, for every 100, we will make a donation to a mental health charity here in the UK. The first one has already been done. So again, thank you all for your support, and it's really appreciated. But we will see you on the next video.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Cheers. Bye.
Till then.